Hello, good evening everybody. As promised, it's Graeme Masterton here. It's just after 7 o'clock. We're slightly late. Tonight we have exclusive interview with the author of Surfing the Techno Tsunami, Paul Hornsey Pennell, who's got some quite important messages to get over to you tonight about the amount of jobs that are going right now as we speak, and the ones that are coming up in the next 13 years. Now, just before we start, I introduce him. I've got a full-time job, and I'm already working on creating my plan B. It's a company that's been going for over 4 years. It's Forex and cryptocurrency trading. There's 8 different ways to make money. That's as much as I'll tell at the minute. If you want any more information or added to our financial freedom group, just drop me a message at the end and I'll get you added and send some information to you. I'll just introduce Paul now. He should be popping along here any moment. Wonders of modern technology. He's over there in Spain at the minute. Oh, good evening. First time this time.
We nailed it. We've nailed
Yeah,
it.
nailed it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Paul Hornsey Pennell, the author of Surfing the Techno Tsunami. Paul's been a business coach for over 30 years at all levels, up to senior management level, sports coaching with Aston Villa Football Club with former manager Graeme Taylor, and he's very passionate about helping little men, as I could put myself, like me, create their financial freedom. So, Paul, first of all, I want to congratulate you on your book being nominated for the Thought Leaders category in the Business Book Awards 2018.
Thank you.
Very well pleased.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Waiting to hear the result. Waiting to hear the result of that. So it's very exciting, but lovely to be nominated.
Excellent. And it's been quite a whirlwind few weeks since the book's released, hasn't it? You've been doing a seminar up in Scotland, did you believe that?
I was up in your part of the world, Graeme.
Yeah,
I took a 35-degree drop in temperature, mate, and came up to your neck of the woods. So yeah. I mean, there's no two ways about it. This message is getting through. This message is people are responding and going, yeah, of course, it's not a surprise. And what's interesting about it is that, what I wrote about in the book, I think this is the thing to really, really, really get clear about. 2 things, actually. One is that, we are truly living in extraordinary times. Truly, in terms of what's possible, what's, what is available. I don't think there's ever been so many opportunities for, the man and woman on the street to actually really kind of pick something up and make a fundamental difference with their life if that's what they want. I can give you a classic example of that. 2014, excuse me. I was lying in a hospital bed, having been told I might have a week to live. So I thought, okay, now's a good time to set some goals. So by the end of 2017, because I don't know how many summers I'm going to have left, I'm going to be living in a place looking out on a terrace over the ocean or the sea or somewhere with wonderful sunshine and the scent of orange blossom.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to you from my place. Literally, my terrace overlooks the Mediterranean. It's at the foot of the garden, and and that is all possible because of this new way, this new era, this new extraordinary chance to create a business out of nothing. And to create it from wherever you want, and to literally not just build a business, but create a truly extraordinary whole way of life. So that's fantastic. But here's the thing: we're in the biggest transition of all time in our history. I don't have any doubt about that at all. And when I talk to people about this, I said, look, most people know something's going on. Most people know that technology is having an impact. Some people don't, and I don't mean this in any demeaning way, but the general public anywhere around the world actually hasn't got a clue as to how fast, how broad, and how total this whole thing is going to be. And it's interesting because, I obviously I know you've read the book. In the book, I talk about Amazon trialing stores whereby there's no checkouts in them at all. What they recognize is that people love shopping on Amazon. I love shopping on Amazon. I love the fact that I can click a button and the following day something's there. Christmas is, you know, maybe 12 clicks of the button and it all gets arrived to my doorstep. I love it. But what they've also recognized is that people like to go physical shopping. So they've now opened, this was in the news yesterday and it's still in the news today. In fact, on the BBC website, you can actually look around as people go shopping. They're just picking stuff off the shelves, putting it in their bag, walking out because it's automatically paid for. No checkouts.
Shoplifters dream.
Yeah. Well, here's the clever thing, you see. You can't get in unless you've got an app. You have to sign in with the app.
Yeah.
So therefore, you know, from that perspective, it suddenly changes the whole thing. But the point is that where that's going to go is that you've got a store now whereby there are no people, there is no checkout, so you don't need any checkout staff. But you'll also have around the back, you'll have robots that will be loading up self-drive cars that will then go and deliver without anybody there. And here's the thing, since I wrote the book, now we're only talking about a few months ago.
Yeah.
Domino's Pizzas have now got cars which will deliver pizzas without a driver in them. The Chancellor of the Exchequer announced in the budget that we're going to have driverless cars by 2020, 2021. You know, this is 2 or 3 years away.
Yeah.
And so these are changes that are going on. But get this, you know, in fact, you and I both know Tesco's yesterday announced that they are cutting about 1,200 jobs. Sainsbury's today have announced that they are cutting it. It could be up to 12,000 jobs because they're looking to do cost savings. Now, at the moment, this isn't because they're going to use, you know, a checkout free zone. But here's the other thing. There is already a company which is going around to these companies and saying, hey, we've got the software that it will enable you to do in an instant what Amazon, you know, has spent years trialing out. So they've got to compete. If they're more expensive, Lidl, Aldi are wiping the floor with them. So they've got to compete. So this is the thing, right? Is that the reality of this really came home. It's one thing writing a book. But when I was giving those talks a couple of weeks back, I asked people, okay, so look, are there any financial planners or any financial consultants in the room? And about, I don't know, 6 people put their hands up. So I showed them this article in the Financial Times where they're talking about with new algorithms, with new ways of doing things, that financial consultancy, it's going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
And for me, this is where this really hit, because I was looking at these people and I was saying, listen, I don't know, but let's say that you're selling a Scottish Widows policy. So a Scottish Widow's going to want to give you a commission and to have a human being with human error possibly make a mistake where, you know, under the Financial Services Act, they get sued or whatever, or would they rather have an algorithm which at a push of a button will give someone a complete financial report, tell them what they need to buy, tell them about the policies, update automatically every year, give accurate and new renewals and all that kind of stuff within the Financial Services Act, and not have to pay that algorithm, that computer, a penny.
Yeah.
I said, you know.
How many jobs does that put at risk in the UK alone, do you think?
Well, my twin brother's one of them. But this is my point. It's like, you know, I reckon they've probably got 3 years at the most. Now, what was interesting was that one of the people in the room put his hand up and he said, listen, it's already happening. We've already got these things that are taking place. We've already got these things that are being trialed. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. So I then said, okay, so who here either works in a bank or knows somebody that works in the bank? And a lot of people put their hands up. So I then clicked onto another thing. So this was announced since. I mean, you and I have talked about, what is it, the Bank of Scotland or the Royal Bank of Scotland?
Bank of Scotland, yeah, they're shutting 4 branches within 20 miles of my little town, yeah.
Now that's going on all over the country, and that's going on with all the banks. Deutsche Bank have announced that 50% of their staff are going to be replaced by robotics and artificial intelligence. Yeah,
I was actually talking to a friend in the supermarket last week, and he's been working in a local factory, and they've replaced their forklift drivers with electronic forklifts. Yeah, they've done away with staff there. I went into my local bookmakers on Sunday. there's a machine. I just put £5 in it. What I put my coupon on. I'm just a small gambler. I placed my bet and I walked back out. And the girl behind the counter said, "It's the quietest Sunday we've ever had, and they're telling us to promote online business." Now, what's going to happen there? They're going to shut all those shops as well. Thomas Cook's shutting half the shops.
Thomas Cook, all the high street travel agencies are now right in the firing line. Another thing which is interesting is car insurance companies are now in the firing line, because here's the irony. So self-drive cars are coming along, which offers two dilemmas for car insurance companies. One is that self-drive cars are much, much safer because they're not prone to human error.
Yeah.
So therefore, people are going to have less accidents. But here's the other thing that's being debated. If you own a driverless car and therefore you're not driving it, then who should be insured? Who should pay for the insurance?
Yeah. No, because I never thought of that.
If it goes wrong, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
So the insurance industry is going to take a massive hit. Also, there was I can't remember the name of the gentleman, but there was an economist he's in the book that I read about, who was talking about that when electric cars, when the battery life gets beyond 200 miles for a charge, and when the price drops below £30,000, then the car industry and the oil industry are going to be in serious, huge trouble. Well, Tesla just announced that they're producing their smaller saloon, which does over 200 miles. They've just announced, recently that they announced that they're doing a coupe, which will do 650 miles on one charge.
Jeez.
They've also launched their second saloon car, which after discounts is under 30,000. Nissan have got an electric car for under 30,000. This is 2 or 3 years ahead of when this guy was anticipating this.
Yep.
So you see, then you got knock-on effects with regards to the oil companies. Why is it that Saudi Arabia are frantically building a different economy based on something other than oil? Because they know that the price is just going to go through the floor. Now, this is when I would say to people, anybody that's watching this, it's very, very easy and it's very natural for people to want to not hear what's being said. A classic example is that I have accountants that say, because accountancy is second highest on the at-risk industries, and it's very, very easy. I have accountants saying, well, you always need an accountant. That's what you're saying is absolute rubbish. So I then have to remind them that the person that's saying this is the governor of the Bank of England. It's not me. Now, the reason for writing this book is because people have got to wake up. If they don't wake up, then they're going to get swept away. We're talking about, in the UK and the USA, according to figures from the Bank of England, from the White House, we're talking about the possibility of 120 million jobs going. Now, here's the other thing. When I was writing the book just a few months ago, that was just over 12 years away.
Yeah.
Now, it's 11 years and 11 months away.
Yeah.
And in no time at all, it's going to be 11 years and 3 months. And then it's going to be 10 years. So this is why I'm giving these talks. And the irony of it is, I come back to the point that, here I am living where I am in a beautiful place in 32 degrees, Graeme, of sunshine.
Lovely 10 degrees in Scotland today. It was lashing down light, but...
But the reason why I'm saying this is not to kind of shove it in anybody's face, but I want people to start getting reality check. Because this is essential. Because there are a couple of things. One is that there is absolutely time. Two is that people have got to stop thinking about, oh, well, there's a safety cushion of I can always get a job. The jobs are going to get way, 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 way less. There's going to be way more people that are going to be competing for them. In all honesty, I think that the central ground, the kind of bland area, I would suggest, is going to disappear. You're going to have specialists. So you will get specialist accountants, specialist lawyers. Because with lawyers, there's already a software that will do a whole lot of their job as well. You're already seeing a microbrewery industry as a specialist area, as one example.
Yeah.
So you're going to get all that on the periphery. But here's the thing. What is the person in the street going to do?
Exactly.
Now, I've worked with people that do internet marketing. I work with people who do, that set up Amazon, accounts and all this kind of stuff. And that's fine. It's fine, but there are a number of things that I would really, really encourage people to do. First is If you've got something that you are passionate about,
Yeah.
really, really passionate about, then do that. Look at it. See if you can actually make that into a business, because that's one of the extraordinary things about this time. But there's a real problem here. As you mentioned, I've done coaching for nearly 30 years. And the reality is that having coached that many people in a wide range of different areas, is that about 80% of people do not identify as being an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you ask most people, have you got a business idea? They go, well, no, I haven't, you know, not got a clue. In which case, what do you do? So I know that you're with a particular company, and I also know that you're in the network marketing industry. And I know a lot of people have shunned that, but I've coached in that industry. I've coached many people who they haven't needed, some of my previous clients haven't needed to work for 9 years or something because they have a passive residual income coming in.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. There is only one industry that can have a significant impact that is geared up towards bringing people on board, teaching them how to begin to understand about running a business from home in fact, one of the biggest problems is it's for such a low cost that a lot of people don't take it seriously because they go, well, you know, I can stand to lose 200 quid.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah.
It is a phenomenal model. And it means that actually we can now do something whereby anybody that is involved in it needs to, in my view. That's why I'm talking to companies such as you and yours, as I was over the weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to people, look, you've got to start looking at, we're now in a situation where you have to start educating people about the potential and the possibilities within your industry and within your company.
Exactly. Just before you go any further, there's momentum there. Mr. Paul Turner says, if Paul Hornsey Pennell doesn't keep reminding me how warm it is, I'm going to send his book back.
Tell him it's okay. The temperature's dropped now to chilly 18. So we're suffering too.
The network marketing is a fantastic industry. The problem I find with it at times is that it's marketed wrong, because it's like, hey, get your fancy car and get this and get that. People need to realise that if you know you don't quit on your day job because you haven't become a millionaire. So why quit on a business? Why not work? A lot of it's to do with mindset, isn't it?
It's in my view, it's 100% to do with mindset. Here's the difference. Look, you can go into any industry and you can point at, oh, that didn't work for that person, that didn't work for that person, that didn't work for that. Any industry, any business or whatever, you're going to have a whole bunch of people that don't succeed in it. In new businesses, there's a high proportion of new businesses that don't survive. The stunning thing about network marketing is, for a start, you don't have to go and test whether the idea works or not, because it's already been proven that it does.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing is that straight away, in fact, if in all networking companies that I know, you have an instant online store, an instant online business. Now, look, again, I know consulting companies that will charge you a minimum of £30,000 to start up your own online business. 30 grand. And they say you might make £4,000 to £5,000 a month after about 4 years. Look, I know network marketers that are making that within their first year.
Yeah.
But it's also the fact that, like I said at the beginning, this isn't just about building a business, it's about creating a whole new way of life. The big key is that you need to understand that it is the monetary model that is what's changed here. So that in your company's case, for instance, I know that you know, guys, people can make money out of foreign exchange trading and learn a skill which is invaluable that you can do from home in an industry that I can't ever see is going to close down. You know, in fact, far from it. I think it's going to get more and more popular. But the point is that because it's on a royalty base, finally, you can genuinely free yourself up from the day-to-day stresses that so many people experience month after month. Do you know, in the UK, they reckon that there's about 14 million people that are 1 month away from not being able to pay their mortgage or their rent. Now, that amount of constant stress, it's disgraceful. It's tragic. Now, if people actually look at the business, the distinctions that I can categorically tell you in network marketing is, Are there people that fail? Yeah, of course they are. But why? Because they've got an attitude that it's almost like if they put money into a store, their own shop, their own, bricks and mortar shop, and they were open. They declared themselves open at 9 o'clock in the morning. And by 10:30, they might have had one customer that came in, browsed, and went out again. They went, do you know what? This isn't working. And so they closed it. And they didn't learn how to market it. They didn't learn how to promote it. They didn't do all that kind of stuff. That's exactly the same thing with regards to network marketing. I can also tell you, the people that are earning very, very, not just good levels of income, but that's underpinned, that is long-term, they have, from the get-go, they have decided that they're going to make this work. They understand that they need to learn. They understand that they need to go through a learning process. But like I said, I've got many, many, many clients of mine who haven't worked, in fact, since the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, there is no coincidence. If people are going to look at this, first of all, what you need to understand and why your industry is going to be one of the mega industries, there's no two ways about it, is because very, very, very soon, it's interesting, after the announcement of Amazon and their store, I've been bombarded with people wanting to talk to me about it, going, oh my God, you're right, what does this mean, blah, 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 because it's a wake-up call, which is great. But here's the thing, those people that get this message now, those people that actually have got the courage to imagine what this world would be like if 120 million jobs goes and what it might mean for your economic future, if you get the seriousness and the severity of this now, and you decide to make a decision now, have a look. Have a look at your business. Have a look at other businesses. But take a look. Understand. Ask questions. Find out about it. Like you were paying £150,000 for a franchise fee. Yeah. That's how you need to go into it. And then make up your mind about what you want. What it is that matters. What are the things that you want to do away with? Get yourself out of debt. Get yourself into financial security. Start building. And we're talking about, a program of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Get yourself in a position whereby over that period of time, you're impervious to whatever the hell else goes on. Because here's the other thing. Those people that get this message right now, those people that act right now, folks, there's going to be 120 million people. If the governor of the Bank of England and if President Barack Obama were right, not me, and also the OECD, which is a large group of companies who are anticipating that around about 357 million extra jobs are going to go around the world, then people are going to be looking for something to do. And I want to make this really clear. My agenda of writing this book is that when I heard these two speeches in 2016, I knew that I had to. I knew that I absolutely had to, because there is no point in waiting for politicians to do something about it, because politicians, one of the things that they promise at a general election is jobs. Now, Theresa May, that fine upstanding politician, is not going to go, that's tongue in cheek, by the way, folks, is not going to go into an election saying, guys, the Bank of England are saying that 15 million jobs are going to go in the next 11 years, 11 months, and I haven't got a clue what to do about it. So they're going to carry on beating the same old drums. You're going to see, quite possibly, you're going to see improving output figures, but that's deceiving, because the amount of people that are actually making those output figures is getting less.
Actually,
so you've got to start thinking for yourself.
Sorry, actually, Land Rover announced today that they're cutting back on the production of the Freelander. I think it's a Freelander now model later on in the year due to the uncertainty over Brexit and the new diesel taxes. So that's
right. Well, you see, that's really interesting, because one of the things that this economist was talking about from Stanford University about when the battery life extends on an electric car and the price gets below $30,000 is that he, and then also the economic journalist for the Telegraph, was saying that these are now the hallmarks of what they described as the perfect storm.
Yeah.
Whereby these companies, which are on the London Stock Exchange, are going to be in serious say, I understand that.
But it's sorry, my signal went there. But it's also folks. If you want to ask any questions, just pop them in the chat below, and we'll answer any questions you've got as we go through. But it's not just the car industry; it's the knock-on effect from all the suppliers as well. Because what does a Tesla car have? 19 parts or something like that?
Yeah, on a standard combustion engine, it has about 2,000 moving parts, and on a Tesla, it's 17 in the engine.
Yeah. Jesus.
And you know, with regards to, I mean, Donald Trump's talking about resurrecting the car industry. I can categorically tell you from a very, very good friend of mine who he hosted a 1-week conference with one of the biggest car manufacturers, that if Donald Trump or anybody else thinks that it's going to be people making those cars, they're completely and utterly wrong. Get this, they've got robots which not only do a set number of jobs, but retool themselves to then go and do another set number of jobs.
Jesus. That's mental, isn't it?
So we've got artificial intelligence creating artificial intelligence. Google actually shut theirs down because it was getting way ahead of itself. You know, I mean,
yeah,
it's extraordinary. But look, yes, this is serious. But you need to look at the upside. If people are watching this and they're going, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" Well, that's a very good question. But don't ask it in terms of, "Oh my God, what am I going to do? All the jobs are going to go." It's like, okay, what am I going to do? That's the difference. Ask it seriously with regards to, right, what are my choices? What are my options? Because home business is going to absolutely explode. Your industry is going to absolutely explode. And I promise you, people that take notice now and they get in now and they take heed of what I'm talking about, because you're going to see that over a period of time, more and more things that I've written about in the book. So since I wrote the book, get this, right? Saudi Arabia have made given a robot citizenship. Now, this robot happened to be saying that it wanted to kill human beings about a few months beforehand. So it's like, what the hell's going on? So it's the EU are giving robots rights. You know, these things are here and they're not going away. Again, about 10 days ago, I think about 300 bricklayers. Don't quote me on the figures, but one of the guys that I was giving the talk to was saying, I think it was either 30 or 300 bricklayers were made redundant because they've now got a robot that can build walls faster, more efficiently, without any waste, do a better job than the bricklayers. This is the thing. You see, even when I started, people were saying, you know, they were saying, oh, people who now do, if you're a physical trainer, you know, your future's secure. No, it's not. Since then, they've bought out a whole lot of virtual stuff where you put on the headset and you are instructed by a virtual trainer. Nobody is getting untouched by this. No.
That's quite scary.
So here's Graeme, here's the other thing. So this is where I then put this back to yourself and people like this, is that what is so important is that, and this is why I'm reaching out to your industry, because it's the only one that can really have a significant impact on this. But this is where people such as yourself, and I know this is how you do it, but you know, it's like, this has got to be, you got to understand how the business works. You've got to understand about what the marketing is. You've got to learn these skills. You've got to understand how to talk to people, and then you've got to understand about how to support people across so that they make that transition. That's now the responsibility of network marketers like never, ever, ever before. So when people are looking for a good network marketing company, those are the kind of things that they need to look at. They also need to look at the fact that, right, is this something I believe in? Is this something that is going to benefit me and that I can see myself doing for, you know, years and years and years, if not the rest of my life? Because that's the other thing that's changing. The way that companies are now looking to market is that it's so that people actually represent them, but they represent them because they use their products in their everyday life. It's not, well, I'm going to do that over there because I think that will make me money. You have to believe in it intrinsically.
That's very
It's
true.
so
That's very
important.
true. Definitely. And the thing about it is, if you find a good company as well, you need to find people like me and yourself. One of my drives is to help as many people become financially free as possible. It's not just
Yeah.
about I want to make money for myself. That's part of the
No.
process, you know.
Well, and that's the other thing, you see. This is why when I work with internet marketers, and look, there are guys I know, great guys I know, who are making millions in internet marketing. But there's only going to be one person that's going to benefit from that. And when they say to me, why are you supporting network marketing? I said, it's very easy. So one of these guys has made around 30 million quid. So I said, look, don't tell me that you're going to be happy sitting in your ivory tower having made 30 million quid when 120 million people lose their jobs, hundreds of thousands of people are out on the street, there's a potential for civil unrest. Don't tell me that that's fun. Don't tell me that you can brush that under the carpet, because you can't. So the reason for this is because, I was watching, there's a whole debate going on right now in terms of the major business builders around the world. They're all talking about, does capitalism need to be reinvented, all this kind of stuff. It has been. Network marketing, I believe, is not just about entrepreneurs. I believe it's about social entrepreneurs. I believe it's about people that are actually creating communities.
Yeah.
That's what's so powerful, is that actually each person becomes part of an economic community that then becomes impervious to unemployment, recession, and the impact of this tsunami. There's a change in culture. People have got to let go of thinking in terms of being an employee. The sooner that somebody goes, right, I've got to recognize that jobs are a thing of the past, the better, because then they can stop wishing that it was different and actually get in and have a real look.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a question there from John Leo Scott. Says, what happens when robots get into network marketing?
Sign them up, quick. Register them into your business and then make sure they've got a program to build other robots. And so that way, the future's assured. Great question.
That's a good question, actually. Yeah. Well, like I say,
but actually, Graeme, there's one thing about that, because I was asked that the other day. Now, here's the thing that robots can never, ever reproduce. You see, the power in network marketing, and the reason that I include in my talks this survey that was done in 2011, 2012 about depression. And it was shocking, because they were talking about the fact that why is it that when somebody takes antidepressant, why in a year later are they depressed again? And they looked at, and this survey was about who was happy in their job in the United Kingdom. And the results were shocking. 13% of people really enjoy their job. They enjoy going to work. They enjoy the whole process. They find it satisfying, engaging, and rewarding. 67% of people say that they are disengaged. In other words, they're just getting through the day, so then they get home. 24%, that's nearly a quarter of our population, hates what they do. And what the author of this book was talking about is, he said, so in all of the surveys that he did, all the people that he talked about and that he interviewed and discussed who were depressed, all of those people were in that 87%.
Jesus.
Now, to me, it's like one of the powerful things about network marketing and over and above internet marketing is that ultimately it's about your relationship with people.
Yeah, 100%.
And so all of these things about depression and mental illness and whatever, this is something that people don't talk about. Many people get involved with network marketing because they end up belonging in a group of people who are positive minded, who are looking to make things happen. And it's belonging to that group of people that is as powerful for many people as the financial returns. So that's something that robots will never, ever be able to reproduce. And that's why it's so special.
Here's one of my very good friends, Liam Taylor, who's actually a bricklayer himself, has asked, why are these numpties building these kinds of robots, knowing it will be doing away with millions of jobs?
Because the economy that we're in, which is why there are conversations going on about capitalism, the economy that we're in and the big flaw in the model is that it is the stock exchange that rules. And there are two reasons, actually. But the first thing is the stock exchange depends upon profitability. So when I was a wee lad, as you guys say up there, Everything was made in Hong Kong. It's like I'm native, isn't it? It's spooky.
Okay.
But but when I was a small boy, everything was made in Hong Kong. Then it was made in Pakistan. Then it was made in India. Now it's made in China, because that's where the cheap labor is. You cannot get anything cheaper, and we can't compete with something that works 24/7, doesn't need any breaks, any holidays, any sickness, any national insurance, anything like that at all. We can't compete. So that's the first reason. But the second reason is that, yeah, sure, from the bricklayer's point of view, this is bad news. But if I'm ordering a house, which will happen, I mean, it's already happening that houses can be printed. Then if I'm ordering a house and somebody says, yeah, that's great, we can have that built for you within 12 days, finished, top to bottom, and there are machines that come out and they do that whole thing, then as a consumer, so in China, right, they've got these printers, they're still basic, they've got a way to go, but they've got printers that can print out 10 two-bedroom properties in one day at a unit cost of around about $4,000. Now, forgive me, but if it's a bricklayer, you know, I'm going to buy a house for $120,000, or if it's a printer and I'm going to get a house for $4,000, then I'm pretty clear about which one I'm going to go for.
Yeah, very true. But on the flip side, that sort of technology's got its advantages, because then you'll be able to build low affordable houses for millions of homeless people.
Yeah,
you know, so
but you won't need bricklayers.
No. You'll need renderers, maybe. Plasterers.
No, you won't. No, you won't. That's my point. When they print the house out, the whole thing is done, finished. But this is really interesting. It's such a good point, because your brain is going, oh, well, you'll need that, you need that. No, you won't.
Yeah,
you'll need that. No, you won't. It's like somebody, when I was talking to them about the trucking, because, listen, they've already got self-drive trucks. Tesla has now, they're launching a range of trucks that go faster than any diesel truck. They do 500 miles on one charge, right? But, you know, with driverless trucks, people are going, oh, well, yeah, but, you know, even if that does happen, well, it is, because they've already done it. Even if that does happen, then, well, when it gets to the yard, you're going to need somebody to offload. No, you now know that there are forklifts that are completely automated that go and then pick stuff up. This is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Listen, there are robots that are performing operations. You know? So what's the saving? Well, a surgeon's salary in the United States is between $400,000 and $750,000 a year.
It's crazy.
So, you know, this is real. Anybody that's listening to this, if you're doubting it, then listen, I've got a Facebook page. All that I do in that is talk about and post the latest developments that are going up, so that you get an idea about it. I would, of course, tell people to read the book, but the reason I wrote the book is because you've got to get an understanding of this. You've got to find out who's saying what. You've got to get an understanding about the vast array of industries, you know, which this is already encompassing, and you need to take a long, hard look, and you've got to ask yourself some very, very real questions. If you've got kids, then it's like, you know, you need to look at this through their eyes as well. I'm even challenging people on that, thinking about, if somebody's saying I'm going to go to university, then I'm saying, okay, why? What for? What is the course that you're going to do? Because, for instance, if somebody says, well, I'm going to go on a course and study economics, I wouldn't bother. Why wouldn't I bother? Because the governor of the Bank of England is an economist, and he's saying they're going alongside accountants. Why go and do a degree, especially down the south where you have to pay a fortune? And by the way, university education, that's changing too. That is going to go increasingly online. It's going to go increasingly automated. Then it's going to change in the schools and whatever. So, you know, if you're a teacher, you want to take a look.
Yeah. Ian Cameron's asking, what sort of time will this all happen? I can answer that myself. We're talking in the next 12 and a half, 13 years.
There are two significant reasons. And again, I'll put a question to people out there, and if they want to give me an answer, then great, because I haven't found another answer to this. But, you know, there are two reasons why I wrote the book. I've known about the changes that are going on, and I'm fascinated by it. But it was because Barack Obama and Mark Carney both gave these speeches. Interestingly, Barack Obama did not talk about the figures. They were documented in his speech, but he didn't give the figures. And the kind of levels of unemployment they're talking about. So to give you some perspective, in the 1930s, in the Great Recession, the levels of unemployment there were just short of 25%. It's 24.75%, and that was a catastrophe. So this talk that Barack Obama gave, there's an association of, it's called the AAS, and I always forget what it stands for, but basically they look out for everything technology. Their prediction is 50% unemployment in the United States. The White House own economic department, they looked at the report and they said, no, it's going to be around 62%. So I heard those two figures. So here's my question. Why would Mark Carney, the governor of the Bank of England, why would he come out and make the statement that he did? And why are politicians not saying anything about it? I've already talked about why I believe politicians are not saying anything about it, because they don't have a solution. So it wouldn't work. But the governor of Bank of England, he is responsible for the economic and the monetary systems around the planet. I can't think of any reason why that man would say what he says other than because he believes it's going to happen. And the timing, this was the second thing, in both speeches, and I've since found this other one from the OECD, they are all saying that this is going to happen by 2030. We're in 2018.
Yeah, 2018, it's 12 years away.
In under 2 years' time, we're going to be in 2020. And that is why I'm saying to people, listen, you need to get the reality here, but you also need to look at the fact that if you move now, listen, I'm talking about this. I'm seeing live streams going on about this book. I'm supporting as many people as I can. I'm going to be doing webinars. I'm going to be getting this message out here. Is it to scare people? Well, it's to make people feel sufficiently uncomfortable where they go, I've got to take a look at something other than a job. That is my intention. Because if I don't get people to that place, then they're just going to do. Look, here's a question for you. Do you walk into a supermarket and go, oh my God, look, there's a self-scan checkout. That's amazing.
Absolutely normal. It's just normal now. It's a choice. Do you want to speak to somebody or just go through the robot?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Really?
It's now so seductive. You see, technology is seductive. We love what it brings. We love what it brings, but we don't look behind the scenes and go, right, okay. So look, McDonald's, right? That's a Scottish company, isn't it? So McDonald's, if you go into McDonald's.
All right, Ronald.
You know, they've now got a touchscreen thing where you order it. And people go, wow, cool. But they don't notice that there's two people behind the counter where there used to be 12.
That's right, right. That's right. And if they've got a guy walks about and asking you how you're enjoying your meal, they try to make it more like a restaurant, but eventually it'll be a little robot that'll come around with your. I can see it with your food on the tray.
Yeah.
There'll be robots that'll make the burgers. Do you know what I mean? Why do you need staff behind there? Mate,
there won't. It's not that there will be. They already are. They've already got robots that are now designed to flip burgers, make the whole burger together, and whatever. That's already there.
Yeah. So as you say, sorry.
No, I'm just curious about what people are thinking. The reason I'm asking this is because I need to know that this message is getting through. If anybody's got any questions, where you're going to go, well, it can't be, can it? Or what about this? Or what about that? Or what about the other? I genuinely, this conversation has got to get out there. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And again, guys, if those of you that are looking at this, what I would really encourage you to do after this call, whoever's introduced you or invited this, is if they are doing a business, if they're in Graeme's business or whatever, there is no time to wait now. Make a call, find out what it's about. I'm not saying jump in, I'm saying find out, discover, understand, learn, because the alternative, by the way, is amazing. The alternative is truly, truly amazing. So, you know, you got to look. You got to start looking, though, and got to make it aware.
Exactly. And if you're wondering what we're all talking about, it's in this book, Paul's book, Surfing the Techno Tsunami, that you can get on, believe it or not, Amazon.
You see, I mean that's an amazing example, right?
Yeah,
When I wrote my first book in 1994,
that's right.
I
Yeah.
then had to get a printers to come and give me a quote. Then we had to put it all typeset down and blah blah blah. I had to order a minimum print run of 2,000 books, so I had to advance, you know, with a fair bit of money and go, oh my God, I hope people want to buy this book. With Amazon, it's all done digitally, and they print each book off at a time. There's no front end order.
Wow.
I don't have to carry stock. It just gets sent all over the place. It's amazing.
That is unbelievable. It really is. It is.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be scary or you embrace it and make changes in your life. And
This is why I call the book Surfing the Techno Tsunami, right? This can be the most exhilarating experience of your life. If you want some real advice, the best thing you could do is that you could start thinking about, okay, so if I could create genuinely the life of my dreams, if I could create a quality of life that would just make my eyes water, what would that be? Because it's powerfully thinking, it's powerfully stepping up to this and finding that out that actually is going to give you the real reasons. What are the things you no longer want to do? If 87% of the population are drifting through their day, then please don't tell me that this job that you've got is a really, really, really great thing. Because here's the truth. Here is the truth, is that millions of people, I used to say millions of people are going to walk into work on a Monday and find they haven't got a job. But the truth of it is that probably millions of people are going to get a text on the Sunday night to say, you haven't got a job.
Yeah. It's shocking. That's shocking. Tracy Law's asking, my youngest daughter wants to be a doctor. She is 13 now. Should she still go ahead with that?
She's 13.
Yeah.
Great. Well, for a start, she's got a lot of time to really work on that. The healthcare industry it's going to transform without any doubt at all. There is already software and programs that are available whereby you can sit at your computer and you can be scanned for, I think it's over 60 diseases. It will then test for your blood pressure, cholesterol, etc., etc. So it'll give you that instant thing. Now, I know there's a company that's just bought one of these testing companies for something like 1.2 billion. So there is a huge amount of resources going into that. But the truth is that we're always going to need doctors. It's a good question. But again, you see, when you start specializing, then that's something else. But in terms of general diagnostics, general GP practices and whatever, I would imagine that is going to transform out of all recognition.
Yeah.
But she's got time. So, you know, keep her eye out and find out. This is where you need to start going online. You need to start looking at where is medicine heading? Where is this going? What is the future? You know, look, there's a whole debate going on about whether the thinking is intentional behind the NHS at the moment. You know, can we afford it? Is it being wound down? Is it being privatized? Blah, 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 blah. So, you know, and it's madness because Richard Branson's Virgin Group was actually suing the government for them not giving him a contract last year. So, I mean, the whole thing is just getting mad.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Anybody else out there got any other questions?
Is that it?
No, I think we're done, Paul, with the questions. So have you got, what's the best tips you can give people to prepare for the future? The best tip. Sorry. My daughter couldn't, it's from Liz Doctor, my daughter couldn't find a job when she graduated, so she is now teaching English as a foreign language online to Asian students.
Right. There you go. So here's the thing, right? To somebody like her, I would say without a shadow of a doubt, to get in touch with, you know, whoever it is that's introduced. I don't know how you've invited people here, but she is somebody that classically should get in touch with yourself or whoever has invited her to find out about what you're doing. You see, here's the tragedy, right? I went to a party about 5 months ago, and there was a second-year degree course student there, and I was saying, what are you going to do when you get out? And she just sighed. And I went, oh, wow, that's not exactly, hey, can't wait to get out there and whatever. She said, well, what's the hurry? We're going to have to work until we're 70.
Yeah.
Now, if that's in the mindset of somebody who's 21 years old, listen, I don't believe we're meant to work all of our lives. I do believe we're meant to work hard, but I do believe also that we're meant to have rewards and whatever for it. So somebody like that individual that just wrote about her daughter now teaching foreign language, she should absolutely get in touch with you. She should ask you questions. You should take her through what it is. Look at what the possibilities are. Look at what the training is. Look at what the future is and whatever. And in my world, I think she should really get involved. Because otherwise, I tell you what, in 5 years' time, a computer will be teaching, foreign students how to speak English.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So sorry I interrupted the last question. Yeah.
No, I think the key things are, the worst thing somebody could do is to start complaining about how unfair this all is, because that's not going to achieve anything at all. I think the sooner that people can get real about this is coming, the better, because as soon as you get that, then you know what you're dealing with. When you then know what you're dealing with, then that's when you need to start looking around. Like I said, if you've got something that you've got a passion for, then great. In the book, there are also people who are doing different things. You look out for them. But if you haven't got an idea, if you haven't got, because I would reckon there's several grand that you've got to put into learning about, online courses and all this kind of stuff before you even start. So if that doesn't float your boat, then what I would really suggest that they do is that they talk to you and to check it out and to ask questions, to evaluate it for themselves. And once they've evaluated for themselves, if they then go, wow, I understand the model, I understand the potential, I understand the upside of all this, then you need to start thinking passionately about what it is that you want. Because we are, for the first time ever, as I said at the beginning, in this most extraordinary world where you can dream, design, plan, build, and live the life of your dreams. And sorry, Paul, but if my windows were open and it was daylight, I'd be showing you the sunshine glinting on the Mediterranean. Because I can't quite believe that this is happening to me now. Yeah. It's real. It's absolutely real. But it only gets real when you go, right, I know what I want. I know what I'm going for. I'm locked in. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to apply myself, just like any job. But the rewards are absolutely phenomenal. Of that, I promise you. And now is the time. You get in now. This conversation in 6 months' time, I'll be having saying, right, and this has happened, and this has happened, and this has happened. And people will be getting more and more worried and going, geez, I need to look for something. Yeah. These are the people that if you're in now, will be following you and joining your business. Yeah. So make it smart and get involved. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Fantastic. So we'll just see if there's any other questions. And once again, good luck on your nomination for the Thought Leaders category in the Business Book of the Year Awards 2018.
Yeah, I'll be unbearable. If Paul thinks I go on about the temperature over here, just wait for win that, mate.
That's still deserved because you've been there's 10 years of research went into this book, isn't there? It's not.
I started giving these talks before the internet was up and running.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how big a change I've kind of just kept my eye open for. So yeah, but thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, look, I mean, the last time we talked last month, we were talking about Thomas Cook. Oh, I think he's disappeared, folks. Oh, I don't know what's happened there. Let's just see if he comes back on. The wonders of modern technology.
Sorry, mate.
Is that you had enough?
It's the algorithms. They're trying to shut me up.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was just saying this is how real it's getting. The last time we spoke a couple of months ago, there was Thomas Cook's were shutting 50% of their high street stores. Yeah. Toys R Us were shutting, like I said, the Royal Bank of Scotland. And then just so happens, as we're back on now, you're saying about Sainsbury's, Tesco's. Do you know, it's more or less every day it's popping up in the news now. Yeah. So it's real and it's happening right now. People need to be very aware of it.
That dial is getting turned up.
Yeah. So if you want to research this more in detail, grab yourself a copy of Paul's book, Surfing The Techno Tsunami. It's only about $9.99 on Amazon, which is about £6.50, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, something I can't
Or even
remember.
if it's £9.99, it's still under a tenner. You'll spend more as that and a couple of bottles of wine at the weekend, and it's well worth educating yourself for.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul, so anything else you want to add just before we go?
No, that's it. I mean, just good luck. Look, if people want to, I would recommend, if I may, that people log on to and follow the Surfing the Techno Tsunami Facebook page.
Yeah.
If you've got any questions and you leave them on there, then I'll answer them. So, you know, if you need to know anything more, if I'm hearing anything, if people themselves hear of anything, then post it on the Facebook page, because that's what it's there for.
Yeah, fantastic. Listen, people, if you enjoyed this webinar and you want to get the message out to friends and family, just please like it and share it out to as many people as you can. They can watch us on a replay. It's there available all day and all night. Modern technology, it's there forever now.
Yeah.
I'll look back at this when I'm 70 and going, Jesus.
Yeah, that's frighteningly close for me, mate.
Yeah, I know it is. Anyways, Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm honoured, very privileged to have been able to interview you once again. So have a fine evening and enjoy your rioche if you're popping one open tonight.
I will, mate. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, chat soon.
Cheers for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.